What if, just for a moment, you stopped scrolling? What if these words were not meant for everyone, but quietly meant for you? Let me ask you something, and answer it honestly, even if you don't say it out loud. Have you ever felt like your heart is full of noise, but your soul is silent? Like something inside your chest is always tight, always holding, always waiting, but you don't know for what? Pause with me for a second, right now. Where are you watching this from? Your couch? Your bed? A quiet corner of the house where no one needs anything from you? Tell me in the comments later. I really want to know. Because this space right here isn't loud, it isn't rushed, and it isn't trying to impress you. This is the Spine Gospel, a place where we slow down long enough to feel what we've been avoiding. You see, most of us were taught to live from the neck up, to think, to analyze, to push through. But no one taught us what to do with the weight we carry here, right in the center of the chest. That quiet pressure, that familiar heaviness, that feeling you can't quite name but you recognize instantly. Some call it stress, some call it anxiety, some just say, "I'm tired," and keep going. But what if, and stay with me here, what if that place is not broken? What if it's not weak? What if it's not something to fix? What if it's a doorway? Ancient people believed the body remembered things the mind forgot. They believed the chest was not just muscle and bone, but a meeting place, where breath meets feeling, where memory meets mercy. Few people talk about this anymore. Fewer still take the time to listen. But by the end of this video, something subtle may shift inside you. Not dramatic, not overwhelming, just quieter. And you may realize that what you've been searching for was never above you or outside you. It's been waiting right here. In a moment, I'm going to show you something very simple. So simple it almost feels too gentle to matter. But I want you to know this first. Few people understand what I'm about to share with you, and fewer allow themselves to feel it. If these words feel familiar, like they've been walking beside you for a long time, then stay close. Like this video. Subscribe to this sacred space between you and you here on the Spine Gospel, and if someone you love has been carrying too much in silence, share this with them. This might be the whisper they've been waiting for. There was a woman who sat in the dark every night after the house finally went quiet, not because she liked the dark, but because it was the only place no one could see her holding herself together. All day long, she did what needed to be done. She smiled when spoken to, she answered questions, she remembered appointments, she carried groceries, she carried stories, she carried everyone else's weight without letting it spill. But when the lights went off, something inside her chest finally spoke. Not in words. In pressure, a dull, familiar tightness right in the center, as if her breath didn't want to go all the way in, as if her heart was bracing for something that never quite arrived. She would place a hand there sometimes, not on purpose, it just happened, like the body knew before the mind did. She told herself it was nothing, just age, just stress, just another day that didn't leave room for feeling, but the body keeps score when the soul stays quiet. She had learned early how to be strong. Strong meant not crying unless it was appropriate. Strong meant staying useful. Strong meant keeping the peace even when it cost her something she couldn't name. So she swallowed words, she swallowed anger, she swallowed grief that had no place to land. And every time she did, her chest tightened a little more, not enough to scare her, just enough to remind her that something was being held. Years passed like that, not bad years, just full years, birthdays, holidays, losses that never got discussed. Goodbyes that happened too fast. Life didn't break her, it simply asked her to keep going without stopping to breathe. One night as she sat alone, she noticed something strange. The tightness wasn't sharp, it wasn't painful, it was patient, as if it had been waiting for her to notice. She pressed her fingers gently against the center of her chest, not to push anything away, just to feel if it was still there. It was warm, heavy, quiet, and for the first time she didn't distract herself from it. No television, no phone, no list of things to do tomorrow, just her breath, and that steady pressure. Memories rose without warning. Moments she thought she had already made peace with, things she never said because it didn't feel safe, or useful, or necessary. Her chest tightened more, not in fear, in recognition. Have you ever felt that? That moment when your body brings something back your mind worked very hard to forget. She felt tears but didn't force them. She felt sadness but didn't explain it. She simply stayed. And in that staying, she realized something that startled her. The tightness wasn't asking to be fixed. It wasn't asking to be solved. It was asking to be felt. For years, she had treated that place like a problem, something to stretch away, medicate, ignore, but sitting there, hand resting softly, she sensed a different truth. This wasn't weakness. This was protection that had never been released, a door that had been closed for too long. Her breath slowed without effort, not deep, not dramatic, just honest. And for a moment, only a moment, the pressure shifted, not gone, just less guarded, like something inside her had exhaled. She didn't understand it. She didn't need to. She only knew that for the first time in a long while, she wasn't running from herself. If this feels familiar, you're not alone. Many of us have learned to live around that place in the chest. We adjust our posture, our breathing, our lives. Anything except listening. But sometimes the smallest shift is all it takes. That night, as she sat there quietly, she didn't realize what she had just touched. She only knew something ancient inside her had begun to stir, and it was waiting for her attention. Maybe this is why that moment stayed with her. Not because anything dramatic happened, but because something ancient was finally allowed to speak. There is a truth old traditions understood that modern life forgot. God or the divine or the intelligence behind life does not shout. It doesn't compete with noise, it waits. Ancient teachers believed that silence was not empty, it was full of instruction, full of memory, full of guidance that could only be heard when the mind stopped rushing ahead. There's an old spiritual saying that appears again and again across cultures in different words but with the same meaning. The still place is where wisdom enters, not the loud place, not the crowded place, the still one. And the body, long before the mind understands this, knows exactly where that still place lies. Right here, in the center of the chest. Not as an organ, not as anatomy, but as a meeting point. A quiet crossing between breath and feeling, between what you've lived and what you're still carrying. Ancient texts describe it as a doorway, a garden, a sealed chamber, not because it is mysterious, but because it is protected. In the Bible, there is a simple line often read too quickly. Be still and know that I am God. Psalm 46:10. Notice what it doesn't say. It doesn't say, be busy and understand. It doesn't say, figure it out. It says, be still. Knowing comes later, stillness first. Maybe this is why so many people feel disconnected even when they believe, because belief without stillness never has a place to land. And the chest, that quiet center, has been waiting to become that place again. Over time, life teaches us to guard it. Loss teaches us to close it. Responsibility teaches us to tighten around it. Not because we are weak, but because we are human. The chest becomes a storage room, unspoken grief, delayed forgiveness, love that never found the right moment. None of this is wrong. It is survival, but survival is not the same as peace. Spiritual wisdom has always said that healing doesn't begin when pain disappears. It begins when pain is allowed to rest. Like a seed buried deep in soil, the seed does not grow because it is pushed. It grows because it is held, darkness, warmth, stillness. That's how transformation works, not through force, through presence. Maybe this is why you're here right now, not by accident, not because you were searching, but because something in you recognized the tone, the slowness, the permission to stop performing. Many ancient teachers believed that when attention returns to the chest, the body begins to remember what safety feels like. Not safety from the world, but safety within yourself. That feeling doesn't come with fireworks. It comes quietly, like breath settling, like shoulders dropping without being told, like the realization that you don't need to hold everything together this second. There is another ancient proverb often attributed to early desert mystics. Where attention rests, the soul gathers. Think about that for a moment. Where has your attention been resting all these years? In your worries? In your past? In what might go wrong next? Rarely here, rarely now, rarely in the place that has been carrying you through all of it. The forgotten truth is simple but not easy. You don't heal by becoming someone else. You heal by returning to the place you left when life asked too much too quickly. And the chest, that quiet center, is not asking to be opened violently. It is asking to be remembered, to be acknowledged. To be treated not as a problem, but as a companion that stayed with you when everything else changed. The woman didn't understand any of this that night. She didn't need to. All she felt was that something inside her was no longer alone. And sometimes that's enough to begin. Because when silence stops feeling empty and starts feeling kind, that's when the turning quietly begins. And then something shifted, not loudly, not with fanfare, just a subtle movement in the chest. Like a curtain being drawn aside slowly, carefully, so light could seep in without blinding. She noticed it first in her breath. Not in her mind, not in her thoughts, but in the way air filled her lungs and didn't feel rushed. Each inhale stretched gently, each exhale released without effort. Her hand stayed on her chest. It was as if it had remembered what it was meant to feel. Warmth, not tension, presence, not resistance. And then her awareness widened. She realized she had been holding all those moments, grief, worry, unanswered questions, memories she had tucked away right in the center of her body. It wasn't shameful. It wasn't wrong, it was human, and it had been waiting patiently for recognition. Imagine a fog that has settled over a quiet valley. At first it seems permanent, impenetrable, but then slowly a breeze moves across the land. The fog lifts inch by inch. You don't notice it at first, just subtle hints of shapes, of color, of warmth. Then suddenly the valley is there all along under the mist. That was what happened in her chest. The fog lifted, not completely, not suddenly, but enough to feel the gentle hum of life moving inside her. She realized that the tightness, the pressure she had feared was not a wall. It was a doorway, and she had been standing in front of it hesitant, unsure, for decades. It came to her like a whisper. She didn't need to run from herself anymore. She didn't need to fix or force or push. She simply needed to notice, to press lightly, to breathe gently, to be present. She remembered reading something in a book once. Your body remembers what your mind forgets. Myss, Anatomy of the Spirit. The words had made sense then, but now they were alive. Her body was speaking, and she was finally listening. Her awareness settled deeper. Every beat of her heart became an anchor. Every inhalation a reminder that she was still here, still capable of feeling, still capable of being gentle with herself. And as she sat there quietly, she noticed something unexpected. Tears came, yes, but they were not sorrowful. They were relief. They were gratitude. They were acknowledgement of a journey that had not been easy and yet had brought her here. For the first time in years, she felt aligned with something bigger, not outside herself, but inside. A pulse of ancient understanding that had been quietly waiting, like the heartbeat of the universe resonating within her own. Her chest didn't just feel lighter. It felt awake, it felt seen, it felt like home. And in that moment, silence felt like love, no grand revelations, no sudden epiphany, just a soft unfolding. A steady warmth that reminded her she had always been supported, always been capable, always been enough. And as she breathed, as her hand rested there, she realized this was the turning point, not the end, not the solution, but a beginning. A beginning that was quiet, subtle, and profoundly real. Have you ever felt that? That first gentle shift, the one that tells you you're exactly where you need to be even if you don't understand it fully yet. If you feel it now, right here in your chest, allow yourself to notice. Breathe with it, feel it. Let the awareness stretch gently through your body and mind. This is the moment where awareness meets stillness, where patience meets presence, and where the first seed of transformation quietly begins to grow. There is a power that has always existed, quiet, patient, and waiting. Not in loud declarations, not in forceful gestures, but in the still, soft center of the chest. The ancients called it many things: a doorway, a temple, the seat of the soul, and they understood a truth that modern life forgets. The body remembers what the mind cannot. Every breath you take passes through this center. Every heartbeat is a silent rhythm that carries memory, feeling, and energy. Even when your mind is racing, even when the world demands movement, this space waits for recognition. Imagine a soft, golden light glowing there, radiating warmth and calm. You don't push it. You simply allow it to exist. It is gentle, yet immense, a reservoir of power you have carried your whole life, even if you never knew it. In ancient wisdom, this was not just metaphor. In yoga, it is the heart chakra, anahata, where energy pathways converge. In Taoist practices, it is the central palace, a place where breath, spirit, and body meet. Even modern science whispers of it through the vagus nerve, the nervous system, a subtle network connecting heart and mind, body, and awareness. Not to prove the magic, but to show the remarkable sensitivity of this center. And when we acknowledge it, press lightly, breathe with it, or simply place a hand upon it, something shifts. Pressure becomes presence. Tension becomes warmth. The energy that has been stored for years, sometimes decades, moves gently, freely, as if it had been waiting for permission to awaken. This is the power the ancients spoke of. Not external magic, not dramatic transformation, but a quiet activation of your inner wisdom. A gentle stirring of what was always there, a reconnection to a strength that is yours by design, not by achievement. Caroline Myss, in Anatomy of the Spirit, writes, "Your body remembers what your mind forgets." Here in the chest, she is not speaking of memory alone, but of energy, awareness, and alignment. Everything you have experienced has left a mark there. Every fear, loss, or withheld word is stored, waiting patiently until you choose to meet it with presence. Imagine a seed buried beneath soil. It does not demand sunlight. It does not push through with effort. It waits silently until conditions are right. Then it begins to grow. In the same way, your chest holds the seed of your ancient power. It does not need to be forced. It simply waits for attention, awareness, and breath. By pressing lightly, by noticing the sensations, you allow the energy to flow, not like a switch being turned on, but like a river slowly returning to its bed. Warmth spreads, tension releases. The quiet presence becomes palpable, and this is not just physical, it is spiritual, it is emotional. It is recognition of your own capacity to hold, to feel, to know. The ancient power does not demand mastery. It asks only for acknowledgement, for gentle presence, for permission to exist. It is remarkable how simple this is, and yet how overlooked. We chase answers outside ourselves, in advice, in books, in noise, when the truth waits quietly right inside us. The chest is not just anatomy. It is a sanctuary, a meeting place for the past and present, for breath and memory, for energy and spirit. When you allow it to awaken, you awaken yourself. Not to perform, not to fix, but simply to be. And as you do, the world changes, not around you, but within you. You notice subtle shifts, a softer breath, a lighter heart, a quiet confidence that comes not from doing, but from remembering. Have you ever felt that? The warmth in your chest that says, "I am here, I am enough, I have always carried this." That is the ancient power. It has never left you. It has been waiting, patient, gentle, and infinite for you to notice. Even now, as you read this, as your hand rests lightly upon your chest, you may feel it stirring. A gentle pulse, a quiet hum, a recognition that you are connected to something timeless. This is not new, it is not borrowed, it is not earned. It is yours, always has been. And when you awaken it, you begin to see life differently, not in a rush, not in a panic, but with clarity, depth, and gentle power. And now you are ready to feel it more fully, to breathe it in, to let it guide you. Because the next step is not just awareness, it is integration. A step-by-step return to a power you already carry. Start your morning quietly. Before the world demands your attention, before messages, calls, or tasks pull at you, take 2 minutes just for yourself. Sit comfortably, feet grounded, back straight but relaxed, hand resting lightly on your chest. Feel the warmth of your own touch. Close your eyes if it feels safe. Breathe naturally. Notice the rise and fall of your chest. Noticing is enough. There is no need to force anything. Imagine a soft, golden light glowing there, spreading warmth through your shoulders, down your arms, through your heart, and into the center of your being. This light is gentle. It is not meant to blind or overwhelm. It is simply a reminder that your chest is alive, holding more than just muscle. It carries memory, energy, and presence. As you breathe, consider this simple question. What is my chest trying to tell me today? Don't answer immediately. Just feel the question. Notice if the answer comes as a sensation, a warmth, a subtle pressure, a shift you can't name. You can tap lightly along your sternum or press gently in the center. Move slowly. No rush. Each touch is a signal. I see you, I remember you, I am here with you. This practice does not take hours. It only takes intention. 2 minutes in the morning can transform the way your day feels. Throughout the day, return to it. When stress rises, when tension builds, or when your mind races, press your hand lightly again. Breathe with awareness. Remind yourself of the ancient truth you carry inside. Every evening before sleep, you may repeat it. A final acknowledgement that you have felt, that you have held, that you have honored your chest and the energy it protects. Consistency matters more than perfection. It is not about doing it right. It is about showing up. Even a brief pause each day can awaken subtle shifts that grow stronger with time. And here's something to consider. Notice how small gestures, a breath, a touch, a gentle acknowledgement can ripple through your day. They can soften your shoulders, ease the tightness in your chest, and create space for calm, clarity, and presence. This is not magic. It is recognition. It is return. It is the daily whisper of your own ancient power reminding you, you have always carried this. You have always been enough. And as you continue, you may notice a change, not dramatic, not visible, but a subtle shift in energy, a quiet opening of your heart, and a gentle awareness that your body remembers everything you have long forgotten. Begin today. 2 minutes, your chest, your breath, your presence. You are not learning to create power. You are learning to remember it. You are not broken, not now, not ever. Every tightness, every weight you've carried was never a flaw. It was a companion. A quiet witness that stayed with you when life demanded more than you could give. And now you are being remade, not by force, not by effort, but by presence, by noticing, by returning to the chest, the center that has always held your power. Take a moment, place your hand gently there, feel the warmth, feel the pulse, feel the truth that has been quietly waiting for your attention. This is your reminder. You have always had the ability to feel, to breathe, to release, to awaken. The power was never lost. It was simply waiting. Waiting for your awareness, your permission, your gentle touch. As you carry this practice forward, remember to pause, return, acknowledge. Even for just a moment each day, you are connecting to something timeless, ancient, and infinitely yours. And now I want to hear from you. Where are you feeling this shift? In your chest, in your breath, or somewhere else entirely? Share it in the comments. Like if this felt real to you. Dislike if it didn't resonate, but still leave a note. Your presence here matters, your awareness matters, and if you feel called, subscribe to the Spine Gospel. Return here whenever you need to remember your own power, to reconnect, to breathe, to awaken. You are not learning to become someone new. You are remembering who you already are, and that is enough.